So the last time that we were working on this, I think there were a couple of bugs. Um, I think this drawing wasn't working properly. I think the radius was set properly, but the XY position was wrong. It was set to 0, 0. I think we had a default there. And we were actually never sending over this calculation of the center, which is still not the center somehow. Yeah, we were not sending this over. I also noticed that depending on, let's see here how it jumps a little bit, right? Like depending on if it is an even or odd, it is a little bit too low. So let's say this is 0. I'm thinking of the columns here for X. Because what we do is we draw the first one, second, third, fourth, sixth, and so on. And then to make them not overlap in these vertices, what we do is that we increment y by the radius. So this is the new center, and this is the previous center. And then if it is an odd number, we do not have to increment it again. We basically leave it back. Um, so this is the zeroth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is to be fine. And then if we go a little bit lower, if he has to go to the fifth one, is it the fifth one or the sixth one actually? Yeah, it's the fifth one. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if it is the fifth one, we could increment it by 1 because we draw from the bottom to the top. So we could say, yeah, this, let's choose a hexagon that is one more time above it. Yeah, maybe we can do this. And we can also, I think there is something else that is broken. Can't remember what it is. Let's run this again. So I'm just noticing that my second terminal doesn't show up. I wonder how can I add it here? A window capture of X composite. Yeah, I'm gonna put it over here. So this is what it looks like. Right now, I think it is jumping a little bit too much between the seconds. I think I forgot to send the microseconds or the yeah, I was collecting the nanoseconds and dividing them by a million and then sending them over. But I think if I compare it to this one over here, to the one on my left, this one seems to be behaving better, right? This one's still not smooth. So that's one thing. The second thing is that this opacity is not done properly. On the new version, it is actually kind of what do you say? Yeah, it's way too transparent. Yeah. So what we can do, it's review the configuration for a second, because I think we are now reading this from the configuration file. So in here, I'm gonna change this from 0.07 to 0.7. And actually, um, now that I think of it again, we are not really yet reading properly the configuration file and sending it over to the to this thread. I think it doesn't work yet. So if I change this back to 1, for example, it should not affect our chart yet, which we need to fix too. Yeah, the goal is that maybe we can load anything we want without having to restart the terminal. Because right now everything is a little bit hard coded, right? But with Lion, we could read the SVGs for anything, and then yeah, they could appear here. So with 0.7, it still looks very. It's still like I think if I'm reading a file here, it is breaking things. It's way too much. So let's go for 0.2 for a second and see how it looks like. I'm gonna run this again. It's not the right way to run this, but just because I have it there, it's a little bit easier to think about it. Okay, so 0.2, it looks a little bit more similar to what we had previously. I think I lost, oh yeah, this red line is wrong. This red line is for non-work hours. It should tell me that the time for working has stopped, which right now it is. I don't know why I'm looking at my clock when I have a polar clock in front of me. But yeah, right now it is 12 in the middle of the day. Let's fix this color first. I can review a little bit how this was done before too, because I can't remember exactly what we were doing. All right, so this is decorations. And we had moved this to the polar clock, or was it decorations? Oops, oh, I have a slash here. Copy the wrong thing. Polar clock. So what I was thinking is that somewhere when we tick, and this is what should be happening, but it's not happening. When we tick the polar clock, basically anytime the time is incremented, we would be getting an event here where we have a mutable reference and we have a tick time. So this is the time of an event. And the current time, the current tick unit is the get time unit value of tick time. So this is done like this because we want to say like if it is a minute, if I am drawing the unit is a minute, return me the minutes. If it is an hour, go for the hours and so on. And what I'm saying here is that if the hour of day is a type of unit we're trying to draw, I want to use the hour and alpha to be a little bit different. So if the current tick unit is more than or equals to 9, and it is also less than 5, this is of course the wrong time because it should be 17 now. This is obvious now. Why it isn't working? 5 p.m. is 17 because it's a 24-hour clock, so that is why it was red. So let's wait and see if it finishes. What's another thing we wanted to fix meanwhile? Yeah, now it looks like the proper color, right? Now this is much closer to this. And all I have to do now is find why it is jumping so much on the new version, where before it was going a little bit gradually. So to do this, somewhere we are doing another tick, and this tick is for the second, or we call it the seconds with millis of minute. So the second times 1,000 and the nanoseconds divided by 1,000,000. So let's go to the definition of this. This is saying that, yeah, it's 1,000,000 for 789 milliseconds. Trying to think also if we should review, because now I forgot if, oh yeah, I copied this from I don't know how to pronounce his name. John Jensen, I think is his name. John Hu at in GitHub, and he has yeah, I think I really like this configuration of npm. So I copied this from him. Calc definition command. What is it called? I forget what it is. Or I shouldn't be saying these words because it sounds a little bit stupid. But anyway, it's yeah, GD is for go to the definition of a method of anything, and then the GI is for implementation. I use this also a lot. References as well is very useful. Um, I'm going to see if I find for a second his configs. I think I'm gonna put this also in the description somewhere. Um, but basically, this is a yeah, this is the repo where I got most of the configuration. I altered a little bit, but yeah, usually I try to merge my config and just put whatever he's doing because amazing. So I'm gonna put this in the description. I hope I can remember this. Okay, so we were saying we're gonna divide this by 1,000,000 because we saw that it was 789 millions, and then we are adding the seconds times the millis, and we are returning the get time unit value. And then the lost run unit, we are comparing it to the current tick unit. So the current tick unit should be whatever is returned from this. So I guess what is happening is that this get unit is not really returning what we expect. Let's try not doing that. So let's create a test, a little test for this. I think I was creating some tests in the previous mod when we were working with just one file. So let's just gonna copy a little bit. Just max diameter X. We don't need this for now. We also need to fix here, define the center index. So maybe let's add a to do here. To do when we are on an odd number column, we should increment the Y position of the hexagon chosen to make it be more center-like. Yeah. Where do we use here? When do we check if we are in an odd number or not? Hex height, total height, then how many do we have per Y column? Then how many we have Actually, this is how many rows we have in our grid of hexagons, and this is how many columns we have. So this is the number that we can kind of use. So how do we find the current, if our current column is odd or not? We have a number of, how do we find this? So we divide the number of, I guess we can use this here and ask if divided by 2, let's see if this makes any sense. I'm gonna remove this 2 to here. So I'm gonna put this here. When we are in an odd number column, so we find the middle. Maybe it works. So if this is true, we will we could actually kind of do the opposite. Reduce it by 1 only, because otherwise we have to increment it and then decrement it, right? So let's actually put this here and say when we are in an I don't know if it is clearer to put it like this. I think it's clearer to put it the other way around. The thing is that when in one section we have to increment it and the other we have to leave it as is. So maybe let's see if we can reward this when we are in an even number column. So what happens when we are in an even number one? We are 0, 1, 2, 3. So for example, the 2, we start at the bottom. Is that true? I don't think that is true. Let's look at the logic here. So we start with half offset true. When true, we will add half radius to y to make sure the hexagons do not overlap. Let's put this in its own line. So if I press capital D, it stores anything in my buffer, and then if I do P, it will paste it. So that is how I do it. Again, I repeat this because I think I struggle to find videos that teach me how to use Vim, and sometimes I see people and I try to understand how it's done and Vim scripts, and then little by little I build muscle memory. So these are tricks I have accumulated through the years, and maybe somebody else will also find them interesting. It's like, yeah, could be useful. So when true, we will add half radius to y. So we start with half offset, and we are saying here, if we are at half offset, then we increment our temp y, which is the current position, time, plus y offset, and y offset is the sine of 60 times the radius. So it would be half a hexagon, which means actually that the even numbers ones start from here, while we draw some hexagons that are not visible for the odd number ones. Basically, we are drawing still these lower hexagons, even though we cannot draw them in the screen. I think that, yeah, they will be dropped anyway, I think. Oh, that is the restoration process. I always forget which one is which. So what we're actually saying is that when it is an even number, actually, this is wrong. It's actually the opposite of this. We start here. No, actually, this is true. Because we draw half of this x, so to speak, right? It's like this x actually is actually two lines, but it's I don't think I can represent this with ASCII characters here. Yeah, this kind of overlap a little bit. So half offset, and then y offsets times 2 to increment by diameter. Which means that if half offset is true, which if we are in an even number column, our center is actually, is it one higher or one lower? It doesn't make sense to me right now. For some reason, if I think of the double negation, it breaks in my head. Where we are in an even number column, so the center index -1 starts from here. So 1, 2, 3, we would drop 1. We're in even number columns. We'll choose hexagon that is 1 below the pre-calculated. This is because the right position of the hexagons. That is slightly varies by depending on or even column. So -1 drops it 1 unit. What happens now? This is not gonna work. Fn turns seconds with millis. So this is the U size, the XFN. This 2 is an F32. Let's transform it into a U size. Not sure if this makes sense actually. I think I want to make this an I30. No, I'm not doing subtractions. Cannot mod F32 by integer. Okay, so what is different now? So now it looks like this. And if we increment, ooh, that breaks something. So what is this? So this is fine, and this is, there's something broken around here somewhere. Yeah, this is a broken scenario. So what is broken here? So we're drawing 5 hexagons. Actually 6 hexagons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's a 6 hexagon here. Right, that is why it looks funny. Yeah, this function is still not clear for me. Let's work on that later, though. First, I wanna fix this. It looks more like a clock now, actually, but I would like it to go a little bit smoother. And also, somehow we fix the time. It's not called the time. Somehow we fix this arc of the year. Before this arc of the year was yeah, like this on this side, right? And now it looks like this. It is everything starts from here. Not quite sure how we fixed it. And also I had removed for now this is gonna be the moon at some point. But in the new version of it, there is no such thing yet. Um, so let's create a little unit test for this. Just want to see what's going on. Okay, so let's see. If we create a unit that is of type polar clock, unit of type seconds, millis of minute. Should I use this or go straight for the polar clock state? Maybe it's easier to go for the polar clock state. I create a new, I send nothing. By the way, in the tick function is super ugly now. I had to send over everything. The X, Y, radius, size info, alpha. And this alpha I had to send because what I have in this array here, no, this is array. What I have here, this RGBA color, this color is actually a multiplier. So what I have here is something that I have to multiply by the real alpha. What I read from the YAML has to be what I read from the YAML has to be multiplied by this value. So even though it looks like this value is an alpha, it is actually something I have to multiply by some alpha that I am reading from outside. Just, yeah. Default minute or clock. So is it easier to get it from get time unit value? So I want to get this, to get for a given input time. I'm going to go in a second to the definition of this because I want to copy this test here. So Y to Y, copy two lines, and then Control O to go back. So I was doing a GD to go definition, and then I step again into this and I press GD, go definition, and that is how I found this. And if I want to go back, I press Control O. Now in here, I'm going to do this. This naive time, I'm gonna have to use chrono prelude. Do I have a naive date time somewhere? I also, yeah, naive date probably is chrono naive date. Interesting. I don't know if I need to. Well, we'll figure it out. So if we have a unit, seconds with millis, and if I send exactly this, what I expect is to have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When I do the get time unit value for my DT. So these times I want to do a cargo test. I should have cargo watch for a test as well. All right, so we don't know prelude and no method file for ground naive date. Yeah, this is because it's supposed to be second with millis. Oops. Okay, so we can draw the prelude there. Arguments to these functions. Input times at dead time local. So I need to find can I just do this? So what is it saying? Maybe this works. I don't know. Let's hope it does. Datetime contains datetime. So if I go to good GI as in Go implementation, it would take me to the implementation, which is apparently a few lines below. It has a from UTC, from local. Probably want to use from local. East optional, west optional. I'm thinking how are we going to handle time zones if it is going to be at all interesting for us. Okay. Time zone east. From UTC. UTC is chrono offset UTC. So let's copy these two lines here. Where is the from local actually being tested? We don't care about this because we are only working with seconds right now. I don't know if this works. Is it a reference probably that I need? Here we go. You know what? Let's just copy this thing. I don't know how to do this properly. Not like I care too much about this. Oh, it has a fixed offset too. It should be local. I don't know if this would work. My expectation was that from local will. Yeah, from local. I thought I was doing two local somehow or something like that. Doesn't make any sense anyway. Anyway, who cares? It's just meaningless. Okay, so on the left, we got a 0 because I forgot completely added the mail and everything. Um, all right, so this is what I want. Yeah. And I somehow broke this. Interesting. Not sure when I broke it. Must have pressed a magic key combination to lowercase something. I forget which one it is. All right, so apparently it's returning the value that we expect, 56789. So we're saying add the 56 seconds plus these nanos. So maybe it's wrong in another level. Are we ticking not fast enough, maybe? I wonder how often we're ticking. And probably you also need to tick or to say, guys, we're ticking. So tick. This is a tick for the unit state. So if we are doing seconds with millis, we want to do should be a better way to do this, but I'm afraid of adding like an instrumentation crate there, and then it's just impossible to read anything. I should be using probably code or something like this to debug this properly. See how it changes from time to time. So it's sticking way more often than what I expect, but it's sticking fast enough. Now what I wonder is we are ticking properly. Now how often are we drawing this? Update OpenGL Vax. Yeah, I don't need this anymore right now. I'm gonna move this actually. This maybe it will make my terminal appear closer. So the way that we are checking, every time we tick, we need to send a notification to the drawing thread. We have to say, hey, there's an event. So if I use space S, I can get to my fuzzy searching, right? And here I think it's called decor update. So I have a series of async tasks, and my initial thought is like because when we saw the configuration of Alacritty, let me see if I can find this config Alacritty. Sorry to stop in the middle of the idea. So my idea was that we have a decor update for a U size, and this U size is one of these decorations. For example, I have some triangles that I want to change, and maybe this one hasn't changed at all. This hexagon background, Maybe I haven't resized because I think only during resize is that I want to update these text. But if it is in Nano, I want to do it more often. Maybe we can also add a refresh interval here. Anyway, this usize is supposed to be the index, so this is 0, this is 1, which also means that when we change the values based on the updates of the configuration, this we need to make sure that we don't accidentally index out of bounds if I delete this, for example, here from the configuration and then something arrives for the deleted one. That's for another day. So Decker update, and because I'm not using this, yes, this index I'm dropping, and the epoch milliseconds I am also dropping. So let's put here, I don't know if I can say info here, maybe it's already, am I using this as info or login info? Yeah, it's already info. So let's say here, Decker update. And then what's the name of this is an async coordinator. So let's see what happens. Maybe I forgot to commit something or I overwrote something in my commit. Okay, so the Decker update is happening much more often. It's happening, yeah, I think it's at a decent time. So every 200 milliseconds, yeah, every 200 milliseconds. So it's doing right. So let's look at what happens after tick. So this is a tick for a decoration config. The decoration config. Yeah, we are actually ticking, so this is okay. Decoration types, we are working on a triangle. So this is when there is a set setting, but never mind. And this one would do a triangle tick. So this is for triangles in Nano. Right now we are drawing everything in triangle mode. So we can go into our into these ticks for the triangles. So GD for go definition. What I think is happening is that I forgot to do this. Actually, oh yeah, I think I know what is different between these two. I do not like this too much right now because this is running size info and these two operations. I think it should only run, and this also should be a trait because I think I run this everywhere. It's like it should be updatable or resizable. Yeah, not sure what to call it yet. So if the current operation is to tick, then it is going to go into we're going to go into nanotick. And nanotick is going to say last draw milliseconds. I don't think I need this time the floor anymore because I am now updating only when something needs to be changed. Yeah, is it true? Do I care about these last 4 milliseconds? When I go into gen vertices, what happens? Yeah, we render everything based on what we have in the vertices. But if nothing has changed, no, actually, this is not gen vertices. This is gen vertices from NanoDraw. This one is going to create a vector based on what we had before. Yeah, I think I should cache this because every rendering operation, I am creating a new vector. And if nothing has changed, there is no reason for me to uh, allocate memory, transfer over the vertices from here and so on. If I was smart enough, no, I don't think this can be done, right? Well, maybe, I don't know. I was thinking that maybe I could say, I know that this is going to be a specific size and so on, but because this is being rendered by Nano, and because, for example, this is all the time changing, then the offsets are not really, yeah, they changed little by little. It's kind of tricky. For example, this one over here, the number of vertices for the year, for the day of year changes once a day. So this is a value that doesn't change per day. But also depending on the scaling, these may be different. Because if the radius increases, then Nano is gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna make this smoother. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna try to do that, but I'm going to try to recreate this only when needed. Um, but what I was thinking is that what is actually, well, I don't know if this is true. Let's see if it is true. What I was thinking is that what is causing the redraw might not be this decor event, but another event that happens every second. For example, do I have something here that changes every second? I don't think so. Like this would be causing it to redraw more often. No, it's not that. I decided to do item here uh, because this is very expensive. So even though this is the nano vertices, I want to have something that is what do we call it? It's not really vertices. I think I would have different decorations, and eventually these will become these vertices. So what do I store in these vertices? Am I even using this? Maybe I can reuse this. Yeah, I want to do something like it's dirty. So tick needs to return. I have something like it marked as dirty, I think, in these decorations. So Alacritty terminal source decorations. Nano, not this. I want to go into the polar clock. So I have an is 30. By default, I return that it is dirty. I could return is dirty for them. Yeah, this is also what I wanted to do here. I could redraw this. Yeah, it's similar to what I was trying to do last time. Like I was logging these 3 lines, and I can say the same thing here. If how often are we calling these chain vertices? I'm not sure. So meanwhile, let's see if we can do this. Use 30. This is a bool. Is it doable like this? Oh yeah, let's see how often are we generating the vertices. We're generating the vertices very often. Yeah, it's also 200 milliseconds. So it's not that. Thank you. It's not the chain vertices. Let's remove this for now, 1 second. What about this? What if I remove this for a second? I hope it's not too heavy. Yeah, now it looks much better. But is it too heavy? How often are we drawing things now? So it is that function there that is returning that. So the thing is that this tick, GR for Go references. Let's see who calls the tick. This is called by the decoration triangles. Who calls this tick? This is called by decoration types. And then this tick is called by a tick from, what is this? Decoration config. And then this is called by draw decorations. Mode the decorations module implement with tick second cycle. Now this wind effect is not done yet. We will do it with Nano. Who calls draw decorations? If draw decoration is enabled, decorations are enabled. I think this happens only when there is an event. So basically, yeah, let's prove that. Yeah, this draw only happens when it is dirty, and I think this only happens when we send an event. So every 200 milliseconds. To make sure about that, we can also do the same ugly print we were using. So again, I'm using pressing Ctrl O to go back to where I was before, because I was jumping with GD for Go definition and GD for Go definition. So I'm going to just make sure that this is not running too often. And I expect this to run every 200 milliseconds because there is a decor update. It should send a message. I think we send this message through, of course I forgot to put info here. I think we send this 200 milliseconds through a Tokyo interval. What am I using tracing? I should be using logging now. I can't remember what I'm using now. All right, so Yeah, every 200 milliseconds. So every 200 milliseconds means 5 frames per second, right? I don't think that should be too heavy. It's probably okay. Now, do I like it here or do I prefer it here? And actually, how does it look when I am editing a file or anything? So, I don't know. Is it very distracting? Maybe that second dial, the second, sorry, the multiplier, we can make it a little bit lighter. Let's make it a little bit lighter. It's fun for, troubleshooting right now, but it could be very distracting as time goes by. So second with millis alpha multiplier. And the color of this one is aqua, I think, right? It's very, very light. So this is the most visible one. And I have the impression the day of the year is not very visible. Let's put this 5.5, just because it is aqua. Yeah, I think it looked better before. I think the something in the current shading looks a little bit funny. Maybe aqua is not also the right color. Maybe it should be the same color as the this light gray one. How does it look with the light gray? Light light blue is what I'm thinking about. So this should be gathered from yeah, we can make it with the YAML at some point, but for now, let's just get it working like this. Yeah, I think I had that last draw thinking because I thought that it was being very heavy and it was being constantly running and just killing the performance. But I am not that sure anymore. Oh, yeah, so again, this is the repo we're working on. I think this is what I wanted to fix first. I'm gonna just commit these changes and then I'm going to add later on some triangles to signify the hours. And maybe if I can get the glyph cache to work, I could do something like if we press a key combination, it can um, it can show me the time here, and I can then remove this from here. And also, I'm not sure yet if this should be if this should be here at the top, where we had like everything we rotate by 90 degrees. And then if you rotate by 90 degrees, isn't that something that we could do very easily in theory with a nano? I think I had yeah, let's see if it works. That would be super cool if it works. Just, I mean, nano, it's just amazing. And lion in general. So I have a rotate somewhere. And now I have a draw.arc, draw dot here. I wonder if I can just do this. And if it would work, that would be crazy. So if we rotate it by 90 degrees, I don't think it would work. That would be super cool, but maybe I can also start thinking of just adding 90 and mod 360. That's an easier way. Probably it's less. Yeah. Where is it? I think we lost it. That was too much. Let's do it the right way. The build arc time. The build arc time, it starts from arc angles. Actually, this is the point. it starts from this point. Instead of x plus radius, let's move y plus radius. So that starts at the top. And now the problem is that, yeah, it's going to use that as the center then to draw the angle. Is it gonna do that though? Degrees arc angles. Let's see. So plus 90% 360. And what is this vector radius? It has a point, a vector, a sweep angle, and a rotate. Oh, it has a rotation, x rotation. X rotation is angle. X rotation. What does it mean, x rotation? Not sure what x rotation means in this context. If the center is equal to the current position, the start and end angles aren't defined, and we just skip the arc. Radii to point, none check for center. So the center is still the xy that we have originally. We are simply moved to the top, so we are here. Yeah, we're here in an empty hexagon. It would be here, and then I was saying that the arc angles can increase by that. Well, how would it look like? Yeah, somehow the north, it looks much better for me, at least fine. Yeah, all of them have to be F32. Kind of don't like that dot at the very end. Yeah, this is what it would look like. And I think I lost the year context. What happened with my year context? Is it maybe way too... Let's put this, yeah, 45. This one we make it a 40, 45. Gray, light blue, gray, light blue, gray, red. It looks, here it looks visible. And in here, it is weird. It is here. Right? I think it is, everything is weird now. I think my rotation is not working fine. So I am adding, or is it working fine if I compare it to the previous one? No, it's not working fine. Like this angle here, this is the end of the year. And this should be almost here. Oddly enough, this guy is fine. So if I get an angle and I add 90, it would move it here. And then I am saying, so let's imagine this angle over here. This angle over here, I am adding 90. So it comes over here. But this is, yeah, this actually, this should be here. The month of the year is also broken. Yeah, something there doesn't make sense. But I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna just commit what we have done so far. I like it. I think it's behaving better than before. Yeah. I see you guys in the next one.